Question 1. The figure below shows the amount of water in the bottles and jug at first. All the water in the bottles was poured into the jug without any spilling over. What was the volume of the water in the jug in the end? Let's look over at the 200 milliliters of water. So let's also measure the number of gaps. For this, we will just measure the longer end of it. So this is like one gap. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let me double check. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So 10 gaps is equal to 200 milliliter. One gap is equal to 200 divided by 10. This will give us 20. So for the left jug, left bottle, the line of water is here in the middle, somewhere here. So you could see that this is 1, this is 2 gaps, and in the middle, 2.5. So that means 2.5 times 20, this is 50 milliliters. Then the middle bottle, we'll do the same as well. Over here, and find the number of gaps. We have 1 gap, 2 gap, 3 gap, 4 gap, 4.5. So 4.5 times 20, this will be 90 milliliters. And over here, so these are bottle. For the jug itself, we also need to calculate the gaps. So in this case, we have 1 big gap, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 5 gaps equal to 1 liter and 500 ml, or in this case 1.5, or in this case 1500 milliliters. So 1 gap would then be 1500 divided by 5. This will be 500 milliliters. So if you were to calculate this one, this will be in this case 1, 2, 2.5. So the jug is 2.5 gaps, means it's 2.5 times 500, which is equal to, sorry, 1.5 to 5 is not 500, 300. So 2.5 times 3 will be 750 milliliters. So that means total water will then be equal to 750 plus the bottles, which is 50 and 90, plus 50 plus 90, and this will give us 890 milliliters, or in this case 0.89. There you go. So that's the answer, 0.89 liters. Question 2. ABCD is a rhombus. BCD is 68 degrees. Find angle ADF. So if you were to look at angle ADF, it is this part that is highlighted in red. So how do we get this? Essentially, this is basically, this part is a right angle, what you see over here, plus this little angle, what you see over here. Okay, and this will combine into this whole red angle ADF. So angle ADF is 90 plus angle BDA, which is in green. So how do we get BDA, which is in green? Essentially, half of a rhombus is 2 identical isosceles triangle, right? So that means angle BCD is equal to angle DAB. So which means this is also equal to 68 degrees. So since we know this is 68 degrees, and rhombus has equal sides, so that means angle BDA is equal to 180 minus 68, and then we divide it by 2, and this will give us 56 degrees. So once we know BDA is 56 degrees, then ADF is essentially 90 plus BDA, in this case is 56, and this will be 146 degrees. There you go. Question number 3. At first, the cans in a shop were placed in 60 shelves with an equal number of cans on each shelf. 6 shelves were removed and the cans on these shelves were placed on the remaining 54 shelves. The number of cans on each remaining shelf was 40. How many cans were removed from the 6 shelves? So that means the total is equal to 54 times 60, and this will be 2160. So this is the total number of cans. Then one shelf would then be 2160 divided by, sorry, 54 times 40, not 60, is 2160. So the total cans is 2160, and one shelf would then have 2160 divided by 60, which in this case is 36. So one shelf had 30 cans. Then the number of cans removed its 6 shelves, which in essence is 6 times 36, and this will be 216. There you go. Question 4. Benson had 3 fewer $1 coins than 20-cent coins. He used all his $1 coins and 2 20-cent coins. The total value of the 20 cents coins left was $2. How much money did Benson use? So we want to work backwards. Let's go to the second last statement. The total value of the 20-cent coins left was $2. So 20-cent coins left, number of 20-cent coins left. It's basically, we need to, before that, we need to convert $2 to 200 cents. So 200 cents divided by 20 cents, this will give us 10. Then the next statement, he used all of his $1 coins and two 20-cent coins. The number of 20-cent coins at first, it's basically 10 plus 2, which is 12. And the last part is Benson had 3 fewer $1 coins than 20-cent coins. The number of $1 coins at first then be equal to 12 minus 3, which is equal to 9. So that means when he say he used all of his 20-cent coin, $1 coins and two 20-cent coins. So money used basically 9 times $1 plus 2 times 20-cent coins, right? He said this will be $9.40. So that's the answer, $9.40. Question 5. Melvin is given a card with 9 numbers. The number 89 is circled. He has to circle 2 more numbers so that the average of the 3 circled numbers is the same as the average of the 9 numbers on the card. Which 2 numbers does Melvin have to circle? So basically, we need to find average of 3 circled number equal to the average of 9 of all 9 numbers. So in another way, we can actually just say the total of 3 circled number according average should be equal to the total of 9 numbers. A better way to say it is essentially total of 3 circled number according to the average is equal to 3 times the average of all 9 numbers. Okay, so that's what it's talking about. All right, so that's how we can interpret it as well. So from here, we just need to add all of the numbers up. So the total will be 612. Then we want to get the average, all 9 numbers would then be 612 divided by 9, and this will be 68. So now we know the average of all 9 numbers. The next thing is you want to get 3 times the average of all the 9 numbers. So 3 times average of all 9 numbers is basically 3 times 68. This will be 204. That means the total of the 3 circle numbers, right, should be also 204. So the remaining 2 numbers then be equal to, or remaining 2 numbers total then be equal to 204 minus 89. And this will be equal to 113. So what are 2 numbers that adds to 113? Sorry, not 113, 115. So that means 81 plus 34 go to 115. So the 2 numbers are 81 plus 34. Question 6. In a shop, cups are sold in sets of 8 and plates are sold in sets of 12. Lim Soon bought the same number of cups and plates. He spent $660 altogether. How many cups did Lim Soon buy? So this grouping question, concept kind of question. So in the question, it says here, Lim Soon bought the same number of cups and plates. So that means step 1, need to get lowest common multiple of number of cups played. So lowest common multiple of 8 and 12 would be equal to 24. So step 2 is to create 24 cups played. So 8 cups, calculate cost of 24 cups, 24 plates. So 8 cups is equal to $60. So 24 cups then be equal to 24 divided by 8 times 60. This will be $180. 12 plate equal to $75. 24 plate then be equal to 24 divided by 12 times 75. This will be $150. Then step 3, create one group of 24 cups and 24 plates. So that means one group will be 24 cups plus 24 plate, and one group cost will then be 24 times, just add, we already calculated. So $180 plus $150, and this will be equal to $330. So step 4, get number group. So total is equal to $660. The number of group be 660 divided by 330, which is 2. Then step 5, solve. Since there are 2 groups, and so one group has 24 up 2 groups and be equal to times 24, and this will be 48. Okay, there you go. The answer is 48. Question 7, part A. The figure is made up of two identical parallelograms, ABDH and HDGE, and a triangle EFG. AC and DF are straight lines. Find angle AHG. So HHG is this red part over here. So that means we need to find two of this angle, which is this one, and also this one. So angle AHG is basically 360 minus angle GHD, which is in purple, and minus angle AHD, which is also in purple. So since angle AHD and GHD is from identical parallelograms, they are the same. So that means angle AHG minus 360 minus 2 times of AHD. So for this, how do we get AHD? Let's change a different color. This will be green. So for AHD, it is the same as ABD. So angle AHD is equal to angle ABD. These are angles, so opposite angles in parallelogram are the same. Therefore, to get angle ABD, we look at this. ABC or AC are straight lines, so ABD is equal to 180 minus 67. This will give us 113. So this is 113. That means this is 113. So AHD is equal to ABD is also equal to 113 degrees as well. Okay, therefore, get AHG is basically 360 minus 2 times of AHD. In this case is 360 minus 2 times of 113, and this will be equal to 134. So there you go. The answer is 134. So part B, we want to find angle EFG. So EFG is over here. Let's make it orange. So EFG, how do we get it? So EFG is part of the triangle EFG, which means we need to get the two other angles, which in this case is this FGE and GEF. So to find angle FGE is the blue one. It is basically 360 minus 229 minus this other angle, which I'm going to put in purple. And this angle is HGE. So how do we then find this angle HGE? Essentially, we actually have worked this out. This is 113 from the previous question. So angle HGE is equal to 180 minus angle GHD. So to get angle GHD, since AHD is the same as GHD from identical parallelograms, then we can work this out. And we know that in this case, GHD is equal to 113 degrees. So since we know GHD is 113 degrees, then we can find HGE. So HGE is 180 minus GHD equal to 67 degrees. Since we know that HGE is 67 degrees, then we can find the FGE, which is the blue one. So the blue angle is 360 minus 229 minus HGE is now 67, and this will be equal to 64 degrees. So then, how do we get the next angle, which is GEF or GEF? GEF in pink is essentially 180 minus the other angle with another purple angle, which is GED. And the thing is that angle GED is equal to angle GHD, which is also 113 degrees, because opposite angles in parallelograms are the same. So from there, we know that GF pink is equal to 180 minus 113, and this will be 67 degrees. And from here, we can get the final equation. This is what we're looking for, EFG. So 180 minus FGE minus GEF. So FGE is 64 minus 67 degrees, and this will be equal to 49 degrees. So I see over here. Right. Question 8, part A. The table shows the number of curry puffs sold at a shop last week. How many curry puffs were sold altogether last week? Express your answer in terms of W in the simplest form. Question 8, part A. The table shows the number of curry puffs sold at a shop last week. How many curry puffs were sold altogether last week? Express your answer in terms of W in the simplest form. So Monday to Friday, basically 5 days times 2W is equal to 10W. So total will then be equal to 10W plus W plus 40 plus 9W minus 5. And if we move all the W's together, it will look like this. So 10W plus 9W, 20W plus 35. Right, there you go. Question 8, part B. Part 1. True, false, or not possible to tell. More curry puffs were sold on Saturday than on Monday. In this case, we can't really just assume from just the number that, oh, okay, from here, Sunday is always, Saturday or Monday is always gonna be high, because in this case, let's say W is 40. So that means Monday go to 2 times 40, which is 80. And then Saturday, we go to 40 plus 40, which is 80. So that means equal number is sold. And if we were to say, let's say W is 50. So that means Monday is 2 times 50, which means this is 100. And Saturday is 50 plus 40, which is 90. That means Monday is more. But if we were to put W as 30, then let's see how it looks like. Monday is 2 times 30, which is 60. And then Saturday is 30 plus 40, which is 70. In this case over here, Saturday is more. Therefore, it is not possible tell, which is option number C. So part 2, this statement says each curry puff cost $2. The amount of money collected on Monday was $4. So Monday number of curry puff is equal to 2W, and then each curry puff is equal to $2. So total collected is equal to 2W times 2 is equal to $4W. So that means it is $4W, which in this case is true. Question 9, part A. The table shows how much an electrical company charges for electricity. The charges are before GST. In January, the Wang family used 260 units of electricity. How much did the Wang family pay for their usage after including a 9% GST? So from the table, it says here, first 180 units, it's equal to $0.25 per unit, so which means first 180 units total would then be 180 times 25 cents, and this will be equal to $45. So remaining units will then be equal to 260 minus 180, and this will be equal to 80 units. So remaining units cost will then be 80 times 0.35, and this will be equal to $28. So total would then be equal to 45 plus 28. This will give us $73, but this is without GST. So with GST, that means it's 73 times bracket 100 plus 9 bracket percent, and this will be equal to $79.57. So for part B, in February, the charges of electricity for the Wang family was $60.05 before GST. How many units of electricity did Wang family use in February? So we know that the first 180 units in total is $45. So remaining cost will then be equal to $60.05 minus $45 is equal to $15.05. So remaining usage will then be equal to $15.05 divided by $0.35, and this will be 43 units. So total units is basically 180 times 43. This will be 223 units. Right, there you go. Question 10. X and Y are two rectangular tanks. At first, X was filled with some water and Y was empty. The base area of Y is 135 centimeters square. Some water was poured from X to Y without spilling. In the end, the amount of water in Y was 2,430 centimeter cube. The height in X was 3/4 the height of water in Y. The amount of water then left in X was 2/3 the amount of water in Y. What is the base area? So we know the base area of Y is equal to 135 centimeters square. Then the water of Y is equal to 2430 centimeters square. Therefore, the height of Y is equal to 2430 divided by 135, and this will be equal to 18 centimeters. Then it says from the question, the height of water in X is 3/4 the height of water in Y. So that means height X is equal to 3/4 of height Y. Do we know height Y? Yes, we do. So that means we just have 3/4 times height of Y, which in this case is 18, and this will be equal to 13.5 centimeters. And we also know that the amount of water then left in X was 2/3 the amount of water in Y. So water of X is equal to 2/3 of water Y. So we know water Y over here. So that means 2/3 of 2,430, which in this case is equal to 1,620 centimeter cube. So to find the base area, we'll have to then get volume or base area of X is, in this case, volume X divided by height of X. So we know the volume is 1,620 and then we divided by the height 13.5 and this will be equal to 120 centimeter square. There you go. Question 11. A file cost $3.10. More than a pen. Hakim bought twice as many pens as files. He spent a total of $92.70. He spent $6.30 more on the files than on the pens. Find the total cost of a pen and a file. Okay, so first thing first, we want to know how much is the pens and files. So if you were to draw a simple model, it will look something like this. So that means the pens is essentially 92.70 minus 6.30. Then we divide it by 2. This will give us $43.20. So we know the total pen cost is $43.20. Then the total files cost is equal to 43.20 plus 6.30. And this will be $49.50. Okay, now the next part is Hakim bought twice as many pens as files. So in this case, we will divide this into number of files and pens. That's what we see over here. So Hakim bought twice as many pens and files. So that means for pens over here, we know that this is $43.20. So one block of pen, the model, will then be equal to 43.20 divided by 2. And this will give us $21.60. So now the thing is that we can make use of the difference, find number of pen file, get the cost of pen and file. So from here, one block of pen or difference. So files over here is difference on one block of file and one block of pens, then be 49.50 minus 21.60, and this will give us 27.90. Yes, and we know one pen and or one file, so difference of one file and one pen is equal to $3.10. So number of pairs of one file and one pen is equal to total difference, or essentially difference of one block of pen and one block of file divided by difference of one file and one pen. In essence, it's basically 27.90 divided by 3.10. This will give us 9. That means there are 9 pairs of pen and file. So the total cost of 9 pairs of pen and file is equal to 49.50 plus 21.60, and this will give us $71.10. So total cost of one pair of pen and file then be equal to 71.10 divided by 9, and this will give us $7.90. So that's the answer for question 11. Question 12, part A. A fitness club had 280 members in 2023. 40% of the members were females and the rest were males. In 2024, the number of male members increased by 37.5% and the female members dropped to 84 members. Find the percentage decrease in the number of female members from 2023 to 2024. So total in 2023 is 280. Then 23 percentage females equal to 40%. So 23 females then be equal to 280 times 40%. This will be equal to 112. So 2024 females equal to 84. So the difference would then be 112 minus 84, and this will be equal to 28. So the percentage increase is basically the difference divided by 2023 females times 100%. Difference is 28 divided by 2023 females is 112 times 100%, and this will be equal to 25%. There you go. So part B, what was the total number of members in the fitness club in 2024? So we know the females is 40%. That means the males will then be 100 minus 40, and this will give us 60%. So that means 2023 males will then be equal to 280 times 60%, and this will be equal to 168. So in the 2024, the number of male members increased by 375%. So that means 2024 males will be 168 times bracket 100 plus 37.5%, and this will be equal to 231. You also know that 2024 females is equal to 84. So 2024 total will then be 231 plus 85, 84 will then be 315 members. Question 13, part A. At first, 3/8 of a fish tank was filled with water. A tap was turned on for more water to flow in the tank. It was then turned off after 25 minutes. The line graph shows the amount of water in the tank over 25 minutes. How many liters of water flowed into the tank in 1 minute? First, we need to find the number of gaps. So, one gap, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 5 gaps equal to 20. 1 gap equal to 20 divided by 5, which is equal to 4. So for minute 0 minutes, the amount of water is, in this case, 40 times 2 equal to 80 liters. And in 5 minutes, in this case, 60 liters. Sorry, this is not 40 times 2, is 40 plus 4 times 2, which would then give us 48. 5 minutes is 60 liters. So in 5 minutes, total water load would then be equal to 60 minus 48. This will give us 12 liters. So 1 minute will then be equal to 12 divided by 5. This will give us 2.4 liters per minute. Okay, there you go. For part B, at the end of the 25 minutes, what fraction of the tank was not filled with water? Okay, we know that at first, 3/8 of the fish tank was filled with water. Means 3/8 of water is equal to, in the 0 minutes, 48 liters. So 1/8 is basically 48 divided by 3. This will give us 16 liters. So 8 out of 8 water, which is the total tank, then be 8 times 16. This will give us 128 liters. So at the end of tank 25, we were to draw the line like this all the way here. So 25 minutes is equal to 100 plus 4 times 2. This is 108 liters. So tank not filled is basically 128 minus 108. This is 20. The tank not filled in terms of fractions will be equal to 20 divided out of 128. And if you were to divide it by 4, this will be 5 over 32. So there you go. The answer is 5 over 32. So part C, question 13, part C. The tap was turned on again at the same rate as before. How many more minutes did it take to fill the tank? So in this case, we know that in 1 minute is 2.4 liters, and tank is not filled in 20 liters. So that means the minutes to fill the tank is basically 20 liters divided by, in this case, 2.4. Okay, because 1 minute is 2.4. That will be equal to 8 1/3 minutes. Question 14, part A. Greater sales ever. Susie bought 2 books at the sale as shown in the brochure below. She accidentally spilled some ink on the brochure. The percentage discount was marked for the second book. Susie paid $21.05 for the 2 books. She paid $1.45 less for the second book than the first book. How much did she pay for the first book? So in this case over here, when she says she paid $1.45 less for the second book, she's talking about like this. So the first book paid $1.45 more than the second book. So the thing is that from the image over here, the first book is at a 10% discount. So essentially, this is 90%, right? Okay, but either way, the second book would then be equal to 21.05 minus 1.45 divided by 2. This will give us $19.80. Sorry, $9.80. So now for the first book, the bet will be 9.80 plus 1.45. This will give us the first book, which is $11.25. So for part B, question 4, part B, find the original price of the first book. So the first book itself, we know that this $11.25 is 90% versus 10% discount. So 100% is basically 11.25 divided by 90 times 100. And this is equal to $12.50. For part C, Susie saved a total of $3.70. Find the percentage discount for the second book. So we know from the previous question is the first book is $12.50. So how much did she save? So she saved on first book. In this case is 12.50 minus 11.25, and this will be equal to $1.25. Then that means she saved on second book. In this case is 3.70 minus 1.25, and this will give us $2.45. So what's the percentage for the discount of the second book? So we know what's the total price, $12.50. So discount on second book is equal to original minus saved. Actually, no need, is the saved essentially. So 2.45 or saved on second book out of original price book times 100%. So saved 2.45 out of 12.50 and then times 100%. Sorry, I forgot one more step, which is the second book is $9.80. So original price on second book is equal to $9.80 plus 2.45. This will give us $12.25. So the original price, this $12.50 is for the first book. Second book is 12.25. Okay. So then we will just put this here. Then if we were to calculate again, it will be equal to 20%. Okay, there you go. Right, question 15a. In the grid, A, B, and BC are straight lines. Measure, write down the size of ABC. So we have a protractor over here. Then as usual, you just want to add a line over here so that you can measure it with your protractor. Okay, make sure it is aligned. And if you were to see the line cross, it is roughly around, let me double check. Right, it is around the middle of 130 to 140. So that means this is over here, 135 degrees. What is over here? So for part B, AB and BC are two sides of the trapezium ABCD. BA is parallel to CD. CD is 2 units longer than BA. Complete the drawing of the trapezium ABCD. So when it says 2 units, from the thing over here, you see, is 1 unit. So basically this spacing, 1 unit. So when it says here CD is 2 units longer than BA, so essentially it is 2 units longer. What you see over here, then BA, something like this. So that means the line will just go all the way straight, and that's about it. Okay, so that means D is over here. So ABCD, and it's 2 units longer than AB, which is, yep, proven correctly. So there you go. So that's for part B. So question 15, part C. CD is also one side of the isosceles triangle CDE. CD is equal to DE. Draw triangle CDE. So the easiest way is to measure the number of units over here. So the number of units is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we have 8 units, which means this part all the way down should also be 8 units. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which in this case is over here. All right. So since this is 8 units, then pretty straightforward. We can just draw another line to CDE. So I see over here. So your isosceles triangle will look something like this. There you go. So that's the answer, CDE. So question 15, part D. Rectangle DEFG must not overlap with. So rectangle DFG, so draw such that it's the same area as CDE. Rectangle DEFG must not overlap with trapezium ABCD and triangle CDE. Use a pencil to draw your diagrams and label them clearly. So basically DEFG must be the same area as CDE. So we know that CDE is equal to half times base times height is half times 8 times 8. This is 32. So to get 32, since one side of DEFG, or yeah, one breadth of DEFG is 8, then 2 breadth of DEFG is 8 times 2, which is 16. So that means the two lengths of DEFG is equal to 32 divided by, 32 minus 16, which is equal to 16. Oh, sorry. So this shouldn't be that way because this is the area. So that means area of rectangle DEFG is equal to length times breadth. So we know that area of rectangle, so length or breadth itself is 8. Then we also know that the area of rectangle DFG is 32. So that means the length of rectangle DFG is basically area divided by breadth. Means this is 32 divided by 8, and this will be 4. So that means we need to draw 4 units like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. 4 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, all the way 8. So this is DE, F, and one more G. There you go. So that's the answer for 15 part D. Question 16 part A. Paul and Zalim went out together with a total of $140.20. Zalim spent 4 times as much money as Paul. The amount of money Paul had left was $12 more than half of what Zalim spent. The amount of money Zalim had left was 1/5 of what Paul had left. How much money did Paul spend? Okay, so first we just want to have one unit be Paul spent. So we go through the sentence step by step. So Paul spent in total of 1 unit. Salim spent 4 units and total spend is 1 plus 4 equal to 5 units. So once we have the total spent as 5 units, which is basically from this statement, the next statement says the amount of money Paul had left was $12 more than half of what Zalim has left. So that means Zalim left over here will be, Paul left will then be equal to $12 more than half of Zalim spent. So we know how much is Zalim spent, which is 4 units. Therefore, Paul left is $12 plus 2 units, because half times 4 units is 2 units. And the next statement, it says the amount of money Zalim had left was 1/5 of what has Paul left. So that means Zalim is 1/5 of what has Paul left, which is times $12 plus 2 units, which is essentially 1/5 times $12 plus 1/5 times 2 units. And this will give us $2.40 plus 0.4 units. Then we want to calculate everything. So the total left would then be 12 plus 2 units plus $2.40 plus 0.4 units. And we have the total left of $14.40 plus 2.4 units. Since we know the total at first is $140.20, then the total at first in terms of units would just be the total left equal to total spent. So that means it's just 5 units plus $14.40 plus 2.4 units. And this will give us 7.4 units plus $14.40. Since the total at first are the same, that means we can create an equation 7.4 units plus $14.40. So which makes 7.4 units will be $125.80. So 1 unit, which is what Paul spent, if you were to scroll all the way up, 1 unit will then be equal to 125.80 divided by 7.4, and this will give us $17. There you go. So that's the answer. For part B, how much money did Zalim have at first? So we know Zalim spent 4 units and Zalim left is $2.40 and 0.4 units. So Zalim at first in units then be equal to 4 units plus 2.40 or dollars 2.40 plus 0.4 units. It will be 4.4 units plus dollars 2.40. So Zalim at first in terms of money would then be equal to 4.4 times 17 plus 2.4. And this will give us $77.20. Question 17 part A. A footpath of length 25.2 meters is tiled using identical rectangular tiles and identical circular tiles following the pattern below. Each tile is in contact with those two next to it. The width of the footpath is 84 centimeters. How many rectangular and circular tiles were used to tile the entire footpath altogether? Take pi as 22 out of 7. So in this case, there is a certain pattern below. And you see the pattern. So the pattern is over here, where it is basically one column that is rectangular, and then another column that is circular, and then lastly the same column as rectangular as well. So this is the repeating pattern. So you see over here. So at the same time, since we know the pattern, the next thing is we know that the footpath of this whole length over here is 25.2 meters, or in this case, so we need to convert 25.2 meters is equal to 25.2 times 100. This will be 2520 centimeters. So I'm just going to put slash or equal to 2520 centimeters. So we want to know the length of the pattern as well. So one pattern width or length, it's basically equal to 3 tiles. Okay. So from here, we actually know the length of each tile, because this is 84 centimeters. So that, since this is two of the same thing, so that means 84 or 2 tiles is equal to 84 centimeters. 1 tile then be equal to 84 divided by 2 equal to 42 centimeters. So 3 tiles is the one pattern length is equal to 42 times 3. This will give us 126 centimeters. So that means the number of patterns, right? This number of pattern would then be equal to 2520 divided by 126, and this will be equal to 20 patterns. So how many rectangular and circular tiles is there? Essentially, in one pattern, we have one column. So one column of rectangular, and only one column. I just count the number of rectangles. So one pattern has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 12 rectangular tiles plus 2 circular tiles, which is equal to 14. So that means the total tiles will then be equal to 14 times 20, which is 280. There you go. So that is answer for part A. So part B, find the area of the footpath that is not covered by the tiles. So by using what we have learned over here, so we don't need the number of tiles anymore. We just need the one pattern area that is not covered, which is basically the whole area minus, or actually the area that is not covered is the circle in the square. So meaning that area not covered, one tile, one circular tile, area not covered is basically square minus circle. For the square, then area will be equal to, since you know one is 42, 42 times 42, this is 1764 centimeters square. Then for the circle, radius is essentially 42 divided by 2, this will be 21. Circle area is equal to pi times radius, which in this case 22 out of 7 times 21 times 21, and this will be equal to 1386 centimeters square. Therefore, the one circular tile area not covered is equal to the square area 1764 minus the circle 1386, which in this case is 378. So one pattern has two circular tiles that are not covered, means it's basically 2 times 378, and this will be equal to 756. So now we know that one pattern has 756. So what's the number of pattern? The number of patterns is 20 patterns. So 20 patterns equal to 20 times 756, and this will be equal to 15120 centimeters square. So there you go. So that's the answer, 15120 centimeters square. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want more of this kind of video, subscribe down below and comment down what other things you want me to show you next. See you in the next one. Bye bye.